Hello gentle listeners, and welcome back to episode 5 of Whispers of the Past. I'm your host, Josh, and today I'm taking you back to medieval England, a time of intrigue, myth, and uncertainty. Our focus today is on the tale that has fascinated historians, folklorists, and curious minds for centuries, the legend of the Green Children of Woolpit. So, settle in as we unravel the details of this perplexing and captivating story. Our journey begins in the 12th century, a period marked by political instability and social change. The reign of King Stephen, during which our story unfolds, was a turbulent era, known as the Anarchy. This was a time when England was embroiled in a civil war between King Stephen and Empress Matilda, each claiming the English throne. The conflict created a backdrop of uncertainty and strife, affecting every level of society. Amidst this chaos, the village of Woolpit, located in Suffolk, England, provided a stark contrast. Woolpit was a small agrarian community, largely isolated from the border conflicts of the time. Its name Woolpit is derived from the Old English word for wolf pit, a reference to the deep, circular pits used for trapping wolves that were once prevalent in the region. These pits were a practical measure for protecting livestock from predators, but they would soon become the setting for a tale that has intrigued generations. In the summer of 1150, while the villagers were labouring in their fields, harvesting the summer crops, something extraordinary occurred. From one of these deep, disused wolf pits, two children emerged, a boy and a girl. At first glance, these children appeared utterly out of place. Their skin was an unsettling shade of green, and they were dressed in strange garments that did not resemble anything familiar to the villagers. They spoke in an unknown language, adding to the aura of mystery surrounding their arrival. Imagine the scene: hard-working villagers, accustomed to the routine of agrarian life, suddenly confronted with two green-skinned foreign children. The sight must have been both bewildering and alarming. The villagers, unsure of what to make of this strange encounter, decided to take the children to Sir Richard de Conn, a local landowner renowned for his wisdom and generosity. Sir Richard de Conn was a prominent figure in the region, and his home was a place of refuge and respect. As a local lord, he had significant influence over the community and was known for his fair dealings and charitable nature. When Sir Richard was presented with the Green Children, he was both concerned and intrigued, so he took them into his home, offering them shelter and protection. However, it quickly became apparent that the children were not accustomed to the food offered to them. Despite Sir Richard's best efforts to provide them with a variety of meals, the children refused to eat, and the villagers could only watch with growing concern as the children grew thinner and weaker. The refusal to eat continued until, in a stroke of serendipity, Sir Richard's household presented the children with raw broad beans still in their pods. To everyone's amazement, the children eagerly devoured the beans, a sight that brought some relief to their hosts. This unexpected preference for beans became a significant clue in the unfolding mystery. As the days turned into weeks, the girl began to recover. However, despite the best efforts of Sir Richard and his household, the boy remained frail and didn't respond well to the food and care provided. The raw broad beans weren't enough to restore his strength, and the boy's health continued to decline. Sadly, he didn't survive for long, and he passed away, leaving his sister alone in this strange new place. The green tint of the girl's skin started to fade, and she gradually adapted to the local diet. With her improved health came the ability to communicate, and she started to recount their story. According to her, she and her brother came from a realm known as St. Martin's Land. This land was described as a place of perpetual twilight, where the sun never shone brightly. The inhabitants of St. Martin's Land, like the children themselves, had green skin. The children had been tending to their father's cattle when they heard a peculiar sound, a distant, otherworldly bell. They followed this sound through a series of underground tunnels and eventually emerged in Woolpit, a place entirely foreign to them. The girl continued to integrate into village life under the care of Sir Richard, and as she slowly learned the English language and her skin's green hue gradually faded, she was baptized and adopted a Christian name, Agnes, as some accounts suggest. Her life in Woolpit wasn't without challenges. Although she had been accepted by the villagers, her strange origins and the mystery surrounding her past continued to cast a shadow over her. Even as she grew older and more accustomed to the customs and practices of medieval England, there were whispers and rumours among the villagers. Some saw her as a miraculous survivor of a far-off land, while others viewed her with suspicion, considering her to be a harbinger of misfortune or an omen of otherworldly origins. Despite these challenges, Agnes adapted remarkably well. She developed a reputation for being hard-working and intelligent, traits that endeared her to some of the villagers who had initially been wary of her strange appearance. Her knowledge of herbs and natural remedies, possibly learned from her time in St. Martin's Land, proved valuable, and she was often sought out for her wisdom in these matters. As she grew into adulthood, she met and married a man from King's Lynn, a nearby town. The marriage marked a significant milestone in her life, symbolizing her full integration into the society that had once viewed her with suspicion. According to some versions of the tale, her husband was a man of some standing, which suggests that Agnes had managed to carve out a respectable place for her despite the mysterious circumstances of her childhood. The couple settled in King's Lynn, where they lived a relatively quiet life. There are varying accounts of whether they had children of their own, but some stories suggest that they did, thereby intertwining the bloodline of the enigmatic green children with the local population. This detail adds a fascinating layer to the story, as it implies that the descendants of these otherworldly beings might still be among us, their extraordinary heritage hidden beneath the surface of ordinary lives. The description of St. Martin's Land, a world bathed in dim light, isolated by a vast river, paints a vivid picture of a realm entirely separate from our own. The notion of a land where the sun never shines is both evocative and enigmatic. It reflects the medieval England's fascination with otherworldly realms, often depicted in literature and folklore as hidden places inhabited by strange beings. The 12th century was a time when Europe was deeply influenced by a mix of Christian beliefs and ancient pagan traditions. This era saw the flourishing of myth and legend, as well as the blending of various cultural narratives. The idea of hidden lands and mystical beings was prevalent in medieval literature, reflecting a worldview that embraced the supernatural. The tale of the Green Children has sparked numerous theories over the centuries. One of the most widely accepted explanations is that the children were Flemish immigrants. During the 12th century, there was a significant movement of Flemish people into England, many of whom were fleeing persecution. The children's strange appearance could be attributed to a condition known as chlorosis, or green sickness, caused by severe malnutrition and iron deficiency. This condition was common among impoverished communities and could account for the greenish hue of their skin. However, this theory raises additional questions. If the children were indeed Flemish, why did they speak a language that no one in Woolpit could understand? The linguistic aspect of their story remains one of the most puzzling elements. Flemish, though not widely spoken in rural England, would have been familiar to some, especially those involved in trade or diplomacy. Another intriguing theory suggests that the story of the Green Children might have been influenced by local folklore. Medieval England was steeped in myths and legends about fairies, elves, and other supernatural beings. The idea of a hidden, subterranean world populated by mystical creatures was not uncommon in medieval literature and oral tradition. It's possible that the children's tales were shaped by these cultural narratives, leading to a story that combined elements of both fact and fantasy. The medieval worldview was far more accepting of the supernatural than our modern perspective. Stories of mysterious beings and unexplained phenomena were a part of everyday life, and the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural were often blurred. This context helps explain why the story of the Green Children was taken seriously and incorporated into the local folklore. The cultural context of the time also plays a crucial role in understanding the legend. Medieval society was deeply religious and heavily influenced by the church. The arrival of Green Children could have been interpreted through the lens of divine or supernatural intervention. The children's appearance and mysterious origins might have been seen as a sign or a test from God, a theme that frequently appears in medieval literature and religious texts. In addition, the medieval period was marked by a deep fascination with the unknown. The idea of hidden realms and otherworldly beings was woven into the fabric of daily life and literature. The story of the Green Children of Woolpit fits neatly into this tradition, reflecting a time when the line between reality and imagination was often blurred. The story of the Green Children did not end with their deaths. The legend continued to be passed down through generations, evolving and adapting over time. Woolpit itself embraced its enigmatic past, and the village sign, featuring two green-skinned figures, serves as a testament to the enduring fascination with this strange chapter in history. In exploring the Green Children of Woolpit, we are confronted with the limits of our understanding and the power of storytelling. This legend challenges us to consider the ways in which we interpret the unknown and to appreciate the role of folklore in shaping our perceptions of history and mystery. The story of the Green Children invites us to question the boundaries between reality and imagination, to explore the ways in which cultural narratives influence our understanding of the world. As I close today's episode, we can reflect on the enduring enigma of the Green Children of Woolpit, a tale that continues to captivate and inspire, sparking curiosity and wonder, whether you see the Green Children as refugees from a distant land, victims of a strange affliction, or beings from another realm. Their story remains a compelling reminder of the mysteries that lie beyond our grasp. What are your thoughts on this enduring mystery? Were the Green Children survivors of a tragic event, or does their tale hint at something more fantastical? I'd love to hear your theories and interpretations, so feel free to share your thoughts and send me an email to whispersofthepastreviews@gmail.com. If you enjoyed today's exploration of the Green Children of Woolpit, please consider subscribing and leaving a review. If you're listening on any of the podcast services, then please send me a review to whispersofthepastreviews@gmail.com. Or, if you're listening on YouTube, then leave me a comment. I'm your host Josh, thanks for joining us, and I hope to have you again to listen to my tales.